let's go over to news then. Let's get some like quick stuff out of the way. Actually, I'm gonna move some things. So I have Pokemon Stadium coming to Nintendo Switch Online next week. This coming week, actually, at this point. So Pokemon Stadium will be the latest N64 game to be released on Switch Online, launching April 12th. So, classic game will also have online multiplayer functionality for the first time, letting players battle their teams of Kanto Pokemon with their friends over the internet. That's a big deal. Obviously, that was not a thing on the N64, so that's a pretty cool thing to have in the game, actually having online. I have zero expectations. I'm assuming it'll run like crap, but it's cool that it's there. The game will be available at no extra cost, to users who have a Nintendo Switch Online membership and have purchased the expansion pass. So if you purchase the expansion pass, you can play it. Which, like, look, Pokemon Stadium's cool, and like I know a lot of people still really love that game. But I'm not gonna play that. I'm not gonna pay for that expansion pass to play it. That's not.
The expansion pass is still way overpriced. They are adding value to it with more and more N64 games and
Right.
the GBA games that they've been adding recently coming in. They're adding value to it, but I still think it's way overpriced for what it is because Nintendo's online is just hot garbage. So
yeah, the other cool thing about Stadium, which I think kind of got overlooked, is at the time Stadium released, and I won't go into detail on it, Pokemon Red, Blue,
and
Yellow were playable on it, so you could play those games on it, and you could transfer your game, like your team. You could use your team from the game in Stadium, which was a big deal because Stadium was balanced in such a way where like the good Pokemon, like for example Alakazam at the time, like didn't have Psychic. It used Psybeam.
Oh yeah, the rentals in Stadium
were terrible.
They had terrible movesets.
They had bad movesets because they were supposed to be balanced, but I'm like, why are they balanced? So Kadabra had Psychic, Alakazam had Psybeam, and so you brought your team over because your team was actually good, and you were like, okay, I'm just gonna bring over my team. So that's like a kind of a big missing thing here. You can't just bring your team in. So that's a big minus.
Playing with the rentals is kind of painful.
It's really painful. It's really painful. I can't recommend the rentals being your go-to option. Same thing with Pokemon Stadium 2. Like the rentals were not good. But now that this is on Switch Online, you can't just use can't just transfer your Pokemon into it. It's not going to work, and it's Kanto only Pokemon because it's Stadium. So big minus for that. You got to use the rentals, which look like the rentals are not good. They're not good.
They suck.
So anyway, I think it's cool that it's coming to Switch Online. It definitely adds a lot of value for the expansion pass. I can't get over the fact that like one of the big reasons I liked it was because I could bring my team over, and that was like a huge value add. So
yeah, that's true. And as you said, it did allow you to play the GBA games on the big screen as well,
which was great.
Not GBA, the Game Boy games on the big screen,
which was great. Like really, I did that. I remember doing that all the time, being like, okay, I'm just gonna take my game, pop it in, and play it. You had to get like that extra thing on the back, but that was like huge for me. I love doing that.
Even though the TVs at that point were still, those old scuffed CRTs.
Yeah, but it's like going from the tiny
like
screen to the big old thing.
3-inch screen to an actual TV. It's
They also added like turbo, so you could do like a turbo button thing, which helped obviously. It just generally made the game faster for you. Like kind of some value missed there, obviously, but like I don't know how they would have fixed that.
No, I don't know.
Unless like you can just play the Game Boy game on it, and then just that'd be kind of an interesting thing if they did that. They won't. I mean, it's Nintendo. They're not, but I'm surprised they just added the online functionality. That was shocking to me. That's like that's above and beyond the bare minimum. So, okay, moving on. E3 is canceled because all the biggest publishers just dropped, which
And an
means
HD 2D class.
which means like where's the money then? And not that like the indie studios or the medium tier publishers aren't going to be contributing some money, but the big publishers are the ones that get the big ass booths. Those pay for the event and provide the necessary funding to make the event interesting but also profitable. So with Ubisoft, Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, EA, I mean EA doesn't go anyway. Like all those guys, including the others that just didn't go anyway, saying no thank you, we'll do our own thing because it's cheaper to do our own thing. There's really no value for E3 anymore. I don't think that event will ever happen again. Even a digital version of it, I don't think will ever happen again. I think the only reason a digital version would happen is if they were okay scaling it down so that it's like mid-tier and small people. But the big people are never going to do it again. Like, why would you? You can just do your digital version and it's cheaper and still extremely effective. So I don't think we'll ever see an E3 again.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I still expect most, if not all, of the big publishers to have some sort of digital event around that time. Maybe not the same week, but maybe a couple weeks after, a couple weeks before, maybe a month later. Like sometime over the summer.
Yeah, sure.
Every publisher will do their own direct or video, whatever video presentation, whatever they call it, to announce all of their releases for the big fall, like the big fall season, basically.
Like that June July section is where all the events are going to happen.
Yeah. Still. And I mean, I'm sure a bunch of those Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest he's at, so but that's an online event.
Yeah,
and it's
that's
just like
event.
He just basically compiles a bunch of trailers into an event and he calls it an event, so whatever. I'm sure he has advertisers. There's a little more production value to it than that, but it's mostly like online event where he just compiles a bunch of trailers and stuff.
I mean, let's be real. The Game Awards is just a bunch of trailers with an award once in a while. The Game Awards is basically just a big ass advertisement.
I mean, it is, but for that, at least, like, you know, he has like a stage and an audience.
Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying. But like, yeah, I mean, like
presenters to present the awards and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so.
I'm just saying that thing is just one big old trailer for all these games.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all.
But I mean, like, that's how you make money. That's how you get the award to be funded. Is you have to advertise during it. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no E3. I don't expect there to be an E3 unless they decide, okay, we're okay just doing digital E3s only. Which I think is like just you could do a small scale version of it for all the medium and smaller tiered people. They would pay into it. It wouldn't be as popular, but they would pay into it. They want to advertise, so
I feel like it's all just gonna get soaked into Summer Games Fest.
Probably
E3's just gonna be gone.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it matters to most people one way or the other. Again, either it's part of Summer Games Fest, or maybe E3 comes back, as you said, at some sort of digital version, or every company just does their own thing and makes their announcements when they make their announcements. So
yeah,
you know, but yeah, it's just not worth it for the companies anymore, I think, when they can just do these video presentations to, you know, pay for the space, you know, obviously the space in the convention center and the travel, and pay people to go and get demos ready, and like, you know, it's a pretty big expense, I would think, for a lot of these companies to actually go to E3. So
it's a big expense. The positive for a lot of the game people, additionally, not just promoting their upcoming games, but also they would treat it like it was one big meeting. They would just pack in all their meetings with all their various partners at that location, and it was extremely convenient to do so. So like that part of those booths are not just for the fans. The booths have interior business sections where they have meetings. They have meetings in there because I've seen them. You know, like I've gone into them and sat down with people in there. There are meeting spaces. So it's like, on one hand, it's a giant, you know, here's all our upcoming games, blah blah blah. But on the business side, like that's where they do all their meetings. So that was one convenience that I guess was provided. So anyway, okay, but yeah, E3. I don't think we'll see an E3 ever again in the same way.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we will either.
Okay. Excuse me. Apparently, The Last of Us Part 1, the PC port, was horribly optimized. In like, there were so many technical issues, so many bugs, and I saw this on Steam. On Steam, if you went to this game's page day one, overwhelmingly negative. And I think every review said the same thing. I really do. Bugs, can't play the game, horribly, poorly optimized. Like, I don't know what the problem was for PC. I really don't. They're patching the game like crazy. Naughty Dog's patching the game like crazy. But what a failure. What a failure of a launch on PC in particular. This article is an older article. It's about a week and a half old. But at the time, I mean, it was just really bad. I wish there were more pictures of just how bad it was on release. The bugs of like just the character models being wrong, the issues of just not being able to play the game. I had somebody who I knew, a friend, she was trying to play it and she was so disappointed that she couldn't play this. It was like ruined. Everything was ruined. I mean, I know they're patching it, but I don't know how they screwed it up this bad. The PC port. I don't know how they did it. So I just want to bring this on because this is a big release for Naughty Dog. They're doing their release of The Last of Us Part 1 with upscale, not upscale, I'm sorry, like graphics looking improved because they did a lot of work on providing higher resolution. It's supposed to be myriad of improvements to the game. But, I mean, game didn't work at launch. Like, you couldn't play it. You just couldn't play it. So, big F for PC port. I don't know, PlayStation 5 seemed like it was fine. But PC port was a big ol' F. Big ol' F.
This feels like the first, big L for Naughty Dog, to be honest.
This is a big L.
Generally, they're, used to pretty much... I mean, Last of Us 2 was not popular with some of the fans, but I think generally it was well liked, and the critics ate it up, obviously, but there was definitely a portion of the fan base did not like what they did with the story of Last of Us 2. That's fine, fair, that happens. Not everybody's gonna like everything. But yeah, this one is just it's just a big L for Naughty Dog. That is just a terrible, you can't.
Yeah. Really bad look. Really bad look in general. To
just release a buggy, unfinished PC port. It's like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it was. It was just, I don't know, and the thing is, here's the other thing too that I don't understand. I don't want to drag on this topic. If you're a game dev, you had to have known this was going to happen. You've tested the PC build. You've tested the PC build. I would assume
they have a QA department that has tested the PC build, and we're telling them that it's crap.
How are they not telling them, hey, look, this game isn't working? Or was, I don't understand how this passed QA in any way, shape, or form. That's what I don't get about some of these games, where they're
they report bugs, and when the devs say, we're not going to fix those, or we don't care, then they don't, and then they just ship it.
Right, and that's where I'm confused. It's look, they clearly said this couldn't be played on PC, but the dev, I mean, it's not hard to be hey, we're just going to delay this game a month, make sure it gets optimized, and then send it out just for PC. Maybe just be hey, look, PS5 is good to go, but we're going to delay the PC version of this for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's not ready.
That's not a big deal, frankly. No. It's not like you're going to lose out on money. I mean, people are just going to be okay, well, sure, why not? I'll just keep my pre-order or whatever, and, take you 2 weeks to patch it up and get it out there. And I understand, that's totally fine to me. And it's not like you're missing a quarterly schedule for your financials. It's not like you're missing something on your quarterly report for that. It's just like you missed 2 weeks. So I don't know, like very strange situation with Last of Us Part 1. But this is
Yeah.
an L for Naughty Dog for the PC port. Big L.
No, I mean, it just seemed, again, I'm not in there, I'm not in the meeting rooms or anything like that, but it just seems like, a lot of the times the macro decisions that are made by the higher ups that make these decisions, like, just push it out, is like they're just short-sighted. They're like, yeah, we don't care, we want the money now,
Right.
and let's go. It happened with Cyberpunk too. Like they knew it was crap.
Oh yeah,
But
they
they're
do.
like,
Yeah, they
they're
did.
like, yeah, but they were like, yeah, this game's been in development too long. We've delayed it like however long they, like a year and a half. I forget
Yep.
how long they delayed that game a
Yeah.
ton.
It was
Like, yeah, we
done.
just got to push it out. It doesn't matter. Like,
Oh yeah. I mean, like,
and then you make that short-sighted decision, and then the gaming community goes, what the hell is this? This is unacceptable. This is crap. Like,
yeah.
you can't, like, I can't play this.
I get
don't
hitting
get it.
deadlines. Like I get you got to hit a deadline, and if you can't hit it, like in Cyberpunk's case, I think they delayed it for like a year and a half, 2 years. Like,
Yeah.
I think I understand the idea of like, okay, we got to hit a deadline. Hard to shift those deadlines given certain factors. Like I think in Cyberpunk's case, like they must have just been bleeding money to a point where they're like, we can't keep bleeding money. We got to see money come in.
They hadn't released anything in a while, and I mean,
Right.
what they should have done with that game, like, a year or a year and a half, or at least 6 months out, they had to have realized that the last gen versions, the PS4 and 360, sorry, the PS4 and Xbox One 360, the PS4 and Xbox One versions were just not
gonna
gonna
work.
be playable, basically. And they're like, yeah, we just have to cancel those versions because they're just like, it's just
Yeah.
not good.
And
Like,
you
just can't play it.
They just wanted to make the most money possible, and having support for those versions does that. But yeah, at some point you just gotta be like, okay, we can't support those gens, given what we're trying to do. We're sorry, but it just is what it is. I don't know. It's tough. So anyway, yeah, but Naughty Dog, this is an L for Naughty Dog. Like, they huge miss here, huge fail.
It's an L.
Huge fail. Okay.